Well, this is it. Welcome to Acaticus. So we're actually starting off in the dynamic cardiology room. And you'll notice, looks like somebody's house. Well, that's the whole idea. So when my students come in, I want my students to feel like they're actually in someone's house. I want them to feel like they're here and like they need to take care of this patient right here. So this is Miles. Now I have a sim tech that's helping me out today in this recording. And so I'll ask for a few things and you'll notice that it will happen. And that's because my sim technician is also working with me. So, if I come into Miles's house, usually I'm coming in from, somewhere over there, and I'm not going to be standing right at Miles's head just when I appear. But when I come in, I may talk to Miles and ask him how he feels, ask him what's going on today, ask him why 911 was called, okay? And you as the instructor, you get to tell them. You have the script that you're working off of. You can design that script in any way you want. You can make this patient into anyone you want. Now, some of the things that I would do while I was asking Miles about what was going on today and how he was feeling and why we got called out here, maybe I'll get a set of vital signs on him. So, for example, I'll pick up a blood pressure cuff, and then I'll just move over and put that blood pressure cuff right down there, right? And as we do that, so I position the blood pressure cuff just a little funny there. Okay. As we do that, you noticed that I was trying to take a blood pressure over his shirt. Well, my simulation technician realized that that's not a good idea, that I can't take a blood pressure over his shirt. So I can ask my simulation technician to remove his shirt, right? If your student forgets, it's going to be a little odd trying to get that blood pressure cuff to get on there. That's the realism that's available in this format. So because I had his shirt on, it was a little hard for me to get that thing to go on there. And my simulation technician, thank you, SimTech, took the shirt off for me, and then I was able to get that blood pressure cuff to go on really easily. Okay? So again, realism, and it's very important. Now, Miles says he wasn't feeling very good. He was feeling kind of dizzy. For those of you that are in the medical field, you're already looking at his EKG and going, yeah, that doesn't look good. And he probably wouldn't look this good, right? He probably wouldn't have a real nice skin temperature and condition like he does. Well, that looks more realistic. Yeah, that looks pretty realistic. And just the feeling that I get from seeing him go to this condition, looking this bad. Now his eyes are closed. He's not responsive. He may be slipping into cardiac arrest on us. You know what? I noticed he's not breathing very well, so I should probably get the BVM. I think I really need to ventilate Miles a little bit. Right? So I can ventilate if I want to ventilate. I can pull my oxygen bottle out. I can set my oxygen bottle down, right? I can have this right here with me. I can make decisions. I can tell my instructor I want to turn it up to 25 liters per minute. And that simulation is there. That realism is there. Maybe Miles didn't need the BVM. Maybe Miles only needed a non-rebreather mask. Maybe he wasn't quite that bad off. So I could put a non-rebreather mask on him. Or, you know what? Maybe he is that bad off. Maybe he's going to need some pacing. Or, maybe he's going to need, eventually, defibrillation. Of course, we hope not, but that's always possible. Okay? And so we can have our pads on. We can put our normal EKG on. Here's my EKG lead, right? Now, I'm not going to go around and put every single EKG lead on to Miles here, okay? But in the SimTech, on your simulation manager, you'll have a button or a little holocron that lives in your room, and you'll be able to hit that button. When your student says, I'd like the EKG to be put on, you hit the button, a recording comes in and puts that EKG on for you, okay? Just as if I were working with my partners. Because remember, I'm not going to be working by myself on Miles here. I'm coming in with my partner. I'm coming in with maybe the fire department, depending on how bad off Miles actually is. So I want those other people to do things. I want my student to say, I need this, I need this, I need this. Maybe my student says, you know what? Miles really isn't looking very good now. Let's get some CPR going. Now, that recording will come in and we'll start CPR, and it'll go for 2 minutes, right? And the student can then say, stop CPR, and you on the other end, you hit the button, you stop CPR. So again, it's that realism. It's that realism, and it's that immersion in the environment that we can get from using virtual reality like this. Well, and speaking of immersion, here we are in, I don't know, looks like my home state of Florida, to be honest with you. It's pretty beautiful out. We're here outside. We were just in someone's house. So you can see, you can really bring your students anywhere you want to bring them to. The program that this was originally done for is actually a fall safety program. And it was all about how to secure your harness and how to secure your scaffolding. And based on the decisions that the students made, the outcome might not always be good. Now, of course, what's nice about this is this was used for a different program. This was used for, like I said, fall safety. But that's something that we in EMS, well, what happens when you fall? We got to come out and help. And so we come out, and here we are. Now, you can see that all around here, not only do we have some bystanders, which would be very normal in a case like this, but we also have fire engine, right? We've got our ambulance. We've got our downtown scene. You can have cars parked around here. I mean, this tree, it looks like I can almost pull one of those leaves right off of that tree. So really, as far as customization goes, there's not much that's better. You know, you may be able to use certain scenes, but those scenes are set. They're set. I mean, are you going to be able to come in and do customization and say, I want this EKG, I want this emergency bag, I want this type of scaffolding. In those asynchronous programs, not going to be able to do that. In a synchronous program like this, you can do that. This ambulance right here, John and I actually did a lot of pictures. We took a lot of pictures of what was inside one of our ambulances at the college, and this ambulance right here can be stocked out fully with all of the normal stuff that you would carry in an ambulance. So again, detail, full immersion, really super important. So you want to demonstrate some skills? Well, we can definitely demonstrate some skills. So, you know, for example, if I were thinking of maybe intubating this gentleman here, you know, maybe that's something that that I can show my students how to do. Now, again, you know, is this going to exactly take the place of me feeling what it's like to intubate a mannequin? Well, no, but this does give that idea and that feel to the student. You can even show the student what it looks like down inside this gentleman's airway, because he has a full airway here. You can tell your students and show your students exactly what it looks like down here in this gentleman's airway. Okay? So, you know, again, if I want to go ahead and intubate this guy, I certainly can do that. Right? Now I have to remove my laryngoscope, of course. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that you know, sometimes gravity doesn't exist. That's a little bit different in the virtual reality environment, and I know some of you right now are thinking, is he going to ventilate this guy? Is he going to do something? I know some of you were thinking it. I know, I saw it. Well, I didn't really see it out there, but I know some of you were thinking it. Okay? Again, that's that realism feel. I still haven't ventilated him. I'm still talking, aren't I? Right? Well, I still have to inflate the cuff. I have to get rid of the stylet. I have to inflate the cuff. There we go. Get that cuff inflated. I shouldn't let go of my tube, should I? Right? BVM. Get my BVM on him. This guy, I can definitely give him a breath. Now, you can tell me right now, what am I doing wrong? I'm sure some of you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Way too fast, right? Let's slow it down. One breath every 6 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. There we go. Now, what if we don't need the BVM right now? Right? We need to put him on the ventilator. Well, let's put him on the ventilator so we can get him on the ventilator. You know what I didn't do? I didn't check lung sounds, did I? I didn't check to see if the patient had lung sounds when I ventilated. Well, now I can listen to that. And some of these assets, when you put this stethoscope on it, it actually has lung sounds. So I can listen, right? I can check to see whether my tube is placed. I can go through all of those steps. Think of this as sort of your even pre-simulation. You're bringing the students in to show them the simulation, to get them used to the simulation, to get them used to the field. You know, one of the problems that we had in our department was that our students would go into an OR environment like this, and they didn't know anything about the OR, anything at all. They didn't know where things were. They didn't know what that thing over there was. They didn't know what that thing over there was, and that's what they were calling them, that thing. They didn't understand any of that. So giving that student that feel, that look, what it's like to be inside of this environment, that's what we're looking for. That's the kind of immersion that you're looking for with your students. Well, no tour would be complete without coming to my favorite room. My favorite subject is cardiology, and this is where I started all of my work with Acadicus, is cardiology. Now, I didn't start it in this room. This room is sort of something that was developed a little after I had started with cardiology, but I tell you, this has been it's been a lot of fun, especially to get a chance to show you some of the things, the assets in this room, again, being my favorite. So I am going to go ahead and do a 12 lead here on this gentleman. Well, you know, maybe I won't place all of them because of time. You don't want to sit there and watch me place 12 lead EKGs, but this specifically was designed to teach someone how to use correct placement of the EKG, how to do correct placement of the EKG, and how to do correct placement of the EKG leads. Right? So what's nice about this is that your student can get that practice before going out on and working, you know, on a real person. Now, we do this sometimes with some of our mannequins. Of course, you can do that with your mannequin. But imagine if your student can come in, practice with this, practice a few times with this, make sure that they've got it right before they then come into simulation, right? You know, you don't want to accidentally place the lead maybe in the wrong place. Those of you that know, that's V2, and that's certainly not the right place for it. So they can get that feel, they can get that that practice that a lot of them really desire before they come in to specifically work with you. So the other thing that we have is, we have hearts, right? And that was, again, one of my favorite things about this is that my students, when I was showing them the plastic hearts, yeah, that was great. Don't get me wrong. It was really great. But to be able to really take this heart, to be able to turn this heart around, to be able to even put my head or my face into the heart itself so that we could look inside of it was really tremendous. And again, look at the realism on the heart. Look at the way that this looks, right? It's really tremendous. Now, one of the things that I always had a little tough time teaching my students, and I don't know, those of you that are EMS instructors or nursing instructors or whatever, AV heart blocks. You ever have your students just, they really have a rough time understanding exactly what's going on with the heart block. So, for example, here's a first degree. You notice we have the EKG on there, and then there's a little animation over there that shows us exactly what's going on as it slows through the AV node, and then it goes down the Purkinje network and out into the to the heart, right? So I can do a second degree type 1, and you can watch that animation changes, and you can see it got slowed a little bit more, and then slowed a little bit more, and then, right? And so that goes right along with the EKG here as well. Second degree type 2, there you go. There's your second degree type 2. And then my absolute favorite is third degree. If you watch third degree, what you'll see is that the signal comes down, it's blocked, but then look, the ventricles create their own signal, and that's shown by sort of that almost like a mist kind of coming up. I thought that was really amazing, right? What a great way to graphically show your students exactly what these heart blocks look like, right? There you go, back to first degree, right? The other thing is, sometimes I like to ask my students a couple of questions in here. And so they can interact with this. They can actually, hit the answers that they think are right. And then once that answer is either correct or wrong, they'll get a little green check mark if it's correct. They'll get a little red X if it's incorrect. So I'm going to go over and take a look at the beating heart over there. And I think you really need to see that. Again, we talk about realism with virtual reality that we can't necessarily always get in the classroom, right? Now, I've had in my classroom, I've had plastic hearts, I've had pig hearts, I've had all of those things that I could show my students. I have never been able to bring into my classroom a beating heart, okay? Much less be able to split it in half and then show the structures inside the heart. I mean, look at the pulmonic valve. Look at the aortic valve. Isn't that amazing? You can actually see what it looks like to be inside the heart. It's almost like that movie, The Fantastic Voyage, I think is what it was called. Isn't that amazing, right? And I was actually able to show this to my students and explain exactly how the atria and the ventricles are working together. Now, of course, I can stop. And then, of course, when I was teaching my students Einthoven's triangle, that sometimes is a little bit harder to grasp. And so my students sometimes would go, well, okay, wait, I don't understand. You're talking electrodes, you're talking leads. I don't get it. Hey, beating heart, it's my time. Okay? I don't get it. Electrodes, leads, what do you mean, Bill? Okay, well, look at the heart. Here's the heart sitting right in the middle of this triangle, right? And then I can talk about my right arm lead. I can talk about my left arm lead. I can talk about my left leg lead. And I can talk about how the negative and the positive are what, the negative electrode here and the positive electrode here are what create lead 1 on my EKG. And then I can explain to them that this electrode then has a negative polarity, which matches with this positive polarity, and that's what gives me lead 3, right? And so then I can go through lead 2 as well. If I need to, I can pull the heart out. Right? If I need that better graphic representation of the heart, if I need my students to see it a little bit more up close, I can pull the heart out, right? So now I just have the drawing in the middle. But I don't know. I like having that heart right there in the middle. And I like to be able to explain exactly why we're seeing what we're seeing, right? And then to be able to come over to my 12-lead EKG and to explain why the right arm lead or the right arm electrode looks where it does, right? And to be able to go right back to Einthoven's triangle if that's what I need to do and explain again, this is why it looks the way it looks. You know, honestly, again, I mentioned this is my favorite room. I could stand in here all day and I could talk about all the EKG assets that have been built into this room. I really like this room. This is definitely one of my favorites. Well, thanks for visiting. I hope you saw something in your class, or that could help you in your class. You know, I know I showed you mostly medical environments today, and that's because I'm a medical person. But there's a lot more than just medical. You can see right behind me, there's all kinds of scenes, and all you'd have to do is go right up to the scene that you want and hit it. Go right to it. So I hope that this was interesting, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks a lot.